creatine. So this is something that you might see if you're doing gym workouts. If you're just doing home workouts, I think unless you're working really hard or you've got a lot of weights at home, we probably don't need to be worrying about creatine. If you want to take it, then you are still very welcome. There's no harm in taking it. It is a natural substance that is produced in the body, but most of us don't get enough of it from our diets anymore. So yeah, I wouldn't, if you want to take creatine, you're doing home workouts and you're working quite hard, then definitely this still applies to you. If you're just doing more like cardio workouts or you're at the beginning of your kind of strength training journey, this probably isn't as relevant yet. Come back to this when you're a bit further along your strength training journey, or you're pushing yourself a bit more, or we're going to the gym, for example. Creatine is a natural substrate that helps all the ATP sources in your muscles get more energy, and basically will just mean that you can push out that last extra rep or two. It just basically means it makes the whole system and the biomechanics that go into lifting or pushing more strength just work a little bit more. It's not a steroid. It's not anything that's going to do anything dramatic. It's not anything that's going to change your performance overnight. I personally don't really notice the difference of taking it until I stop taking it, and then I do feel a bit weaker, and that could be psychological. There's obviously a lot of evidence that placebo is probably the strongest whole thing in our body ever, but being able to push that extra rep over time will make a big difference. So you want about 5 milligrams a day. You can get it from My Protein, you can get it from Amazon. I just get tablets because I'm quite bad at taking like powders and things. The key is to take it every single day, and that's really key. People often get it in like pre-workouts or BCAAs or something they drink, but if you're doing that, you need to make sure it's consistent every day. So if you don't have your pre-workout every day, which you shouldn't and you wouldn't, then try and get it in a different source. You can get it just like in powders you can put in your morning water or in your oats or whatever, or like I do, take a pill. So 5 milligrams a day. The important thing to remember is if you find any digestive issues or any issues taking this, obviously shoot me a message and we'll talk through it. A lot of people, and the reason girls freak out is they'll be heavier after taking it for a little bit. Again, if this happens, this is natural. It is just water retention in your muscles. It's fuels in your muscles. It's the extra fuel sources in your muscles. So it's a good thing. It is not anything to worry about. If your diet is still in a deficit and you're still making progress, then this will not affect this. Well, it won't affect any of your body fat percentage at all. It will not affect your body fat percentage or your muscle mass percentage. It will just affect how much water and sources of glycogen are in your muscles, which again is a good thing because it's going to mean you look more pumped, you can push harder, and you've got more energy in the muscles. So don't panic if you take some creatine and see the scale go up a little bit. Personally, I didn't actually notice this much myself, but I've had some girls who weigh a pound or so heavier from taking it. But again, this doesn't matter because it's not body fat, so it really doesn't matter. Do not panic, and it's so worth taking. I would recommend it to everyone. The only sort of supplements I think are worth taking probably are a good multivitamin with B12 and iron in, and vitamin D if you're in the UK, creatine, and then if you struggle with sleep and recovery, maybe some magnesium and zinc. Things like BCAAs, EAAs for most people are not really that needed. If you've got money to spend and you want to have these things, you're welcome to. We can always talk about a more in-depth supplement list if it's something you want to spend money on, but for the general population, a good multivitamin, which is really important, probably with iron actually, iron, B12 and vitamin D in, is really good. And then obviously creatine is the one other thing that I think is all the science suggests it's one of the most heavily researched supplements, and it's one of the best.